Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about the tale of Dungeons and Dragons and Ollies. What the heck is Ollies? And Dragonlance Warriors of Krynn. So this is a tale. Let's get into it. So first of all, what is this thing? So Dragonlance Warriors of Krynn was an experiment by the Dungeons and Dragons design team. This is a board game. Okay. And this board game. Oh, you know what? Let's talk about this right here. We'll flip this upside down. Hold on. You see that? That says Ollie's. $9.99. That's why we're talking about this today. That is incredible. And I'm going to tell you about how this board game, right? Look at that. This board game sold less than a year ago. This thing came out I think Dragonlance Shadow of the Dragon Queen came out in fall of 2022. And this board game was created to be part of the experience. And it is literally interlaced into the D&D canon hardback, right? First time this ever happened. This had never been done before, where a board game was made part of a Dungeons & Dragons canon hardback. This experiment failed. Oh, Scott, did it fail? I don't know, Scott. That's $9.99. This retailed for $60 to $80. Okay? So I just bought this $60 board game, which functions as a board game, right? So the point is, they could put this on the shelf at PAX PAX Unplugged, and some muggle who doesn't even know what Dungeons and Dragons is like, oh, hey, look, a fantasy-based, a fantasy-based board game. I'll play that. And they could. They didn't understand that literally this is actually sectioned up to be played with the Dragonlance Shadow of the Dragon Queen Dungeons & Dragons canon hardback, which was put out by F. Wesley Snyder, right? And who was led by that specific person on the design team. So this is really incredible. Incredible. So now here's the thing. Let's talk about this, right? So one, this ain't the first video you've seen on this, right? You've seen D&D haters going, oh, look, they're dumping a bunch of Dungeons & Dragons stuff at discount stores. Now, first of all, that's not really fully the case. What really happened is that Dungeons & Dragons took the hit for the entire OSR and indie, activity sphere. I don't even think it's fair to even call them an industry. Tabletop role-playing games is not an industry. Dungeons & Dragons is an industry. And they put on their big girl pants and they act like a real company. And real companies fail. This was a failure, right? But they're not going to have massive successes like what we're going to see when Dungeons & Dragons essentially abandons every single miniature that's a set that's ever been made for it and switches over. And every single Dungeon Master is like, oh, Lego is official to Dungeons & Dragons? Oh, well, I don't need another mini ever. I'm going to run everything with Dungeons & Dragons. I'm going to run every Dungeons & Dragons terrain, every Dungeons & Dragons miniature need through Legos, right? And I think that's why they were connected. But the thing is, this was a failure on the part of Wizards of the Coast. This was a failure on the part of Hasbro. But the part I want you to understand is, others are like, oh, look, they failed because they don't know what they're doing. No, they failed because they ski the black diamonds. They do things that no one else in the industry does, right? And I'm very thankful for it. And I can say right now, I'm extremely excited to open up this amazing box. And that's the other thing is, for us who love this is fantastic. So if you have an Ollie's near you, go get this thing. This is definitely worth $10, right? So I was extremely excited to find this there. And I found it because all the whiners were like, oh, there's a whole bunch of Hasbro stuff that's getting dumped, right? And the thing is, they did an experiment. The experiment failed. Do you guys remember Google Buzz? Or do you remember Google Reader, right? Big companies who are doing better than anyone else fail because they do things, they take risks, and sometimes those risks work out stupendously. One of the things that's been working out really good recently are slipcases, right? I think increasingly we're going to get less and less D&D canon hardbacks. We're going to get these huge slipcases, right? And they're going to take the Dungeons & Dragons D&D canon all the way up to $100, right? Because it's going to be slipcases, and most were like the 2 products this year were like $80 to $100, right? And so this, I think they were very right to make this. I'm very proud of them for making this. I don't think for 1 minute that this was a mistake. It was simply a miscalculation of the market and trying something. And that's how you get to a point where you can achieve incredible things, is just, getting to the point where you're trying things that, so that things can be. This is how I'm going to end this video. Dungeons and Dragons inspires everyone. Inspires the dungeon masters, right, to do more. Inspires the players to be more. And it inspires the designers to literally be adventurous in design, right? You're not going to get this from MCDM. You're not going to get this from Critical Role. You're not going to get this from Goodman Games. You're not going to get this from the OSC creators. Because they're not at scale. They literally can't do this, right? This is not a failure. This is what bravery looks like. Every single word of that is my humble opinion. What's important is when I get to hear your humble opinion. When you get in the comments and send your traffic, please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.